I'm John Branch, and I'm a wedding photographer and YouTube content creator in the Raleigh, North Carolina area, and you're listening to the Workflows Photography Podcast.
Chip, I am so glad to have you here. First of all, not long ago, you were at the White House doing some photography, which is, I have to say, a bucket list item for myself. So quite jealous. I'm sure that was a real treat to be able to do that. So before we dive into like the whole topic, the whole conversation today, can you just share a little bit about that? Whatever you're allowed to share about it.
Yeah. I can. Yeah, it's no embargo information anymore. So it was a nonprofit organization. So people don't know, I have just a backstory. I pivoted into more corporate and headshot photography. I was a wedding photographer for 8 to 10 years when I first started out. And then I made this shift around 2023. And this is my third year going into it. And I had some pretty good clients. I'm in the Washington, D.C. metro area. If anybody knows about the area, it's government, nonprofits, right? It's two big things. So a lot of nonprofits come here and get meetings either at Congress, the White House. I'm always shooting in those areas. And, well, not the White House, but more Congress. So one of my clients had the opportunity to go there in some of the wings and the Eisenhower Executive Building. So if you know anything about the White House, it's just not that house of residence. It's way more than that, right? Mm-hmm. It's a lot of people working there. And during the Biden administration, they were meeting with some housing officials and some other people. They were from another city, but we were fortunate to get some pictures there. We didn't meet the president at the time, but we did meet some other senior officials. And it was a little hard to get in there because you have to just, feel like if you like TSA, TSA is like times that by 4.
They got nothing on that.
You got to have a reservation. Make sure just everything is right, and security and stuff that you bring in camera gear wise. But I mean, I guess people who do it every day is nothing, but for me, it was a real treat, and it's one of those things I wanted to do. But it was good. It was good. We had some good pictures. Some stuff I couldn't post. Some stuff I could post. So, but the stuff they let me post is just fine, and I'm very grateful for it.
Years ago, when Obama was president, I had the honor of being able to go to Andrews Air Force Base and photograph the Obama family boarding the Air Force One, and same sort of TSA scrutiny, but like tenfold, right? It's really intense when you have to go through
really
that.
Any second chances, you have to shoot and and go boom boom and be quick. So but my wedding experience, one thing from shooting weddings, we know how to shoot quickly and not get a second chance, because sometimes, like I said, the bride's not going to come down the aisle, the groom's not going to come down the aisle twice. So it's just with these events, especially high stakes events, and the higher in the hierarchy, especially if you're shooting corporate or nonprofit, CEOs, executive directors, they don't have time for you to do the chimping, what we used to do. Look at our camera, look at our settings. We need to just get them right in camera and go.
Yeah. Definitely. So today I wanted to talk about two areas where in your workflow things are going well, an area where you've struggled with that you're working on. And one of those areas that you've mentioned to me was editing of that, things that are going well. Can you talk about with your shift from like weddings to commercial and corporate, what's your volume like that you're doing at these, and how do you manage it all?
Yeah, great question, Scott. There would be no way for me to manage everything that I manage without imagen-ai editing. That's just the first thing, because I'm shooting weekly. So let's put this in perspective. So I have my corporate. So move from weddings were more of a weekend kind of gig, and moving into corporate is more Monday through Friday. Nonprofit corporate Monday through Friday, and then I still have a contract with a house of worship with a large church in the Baltimore area, where every Sunday I'm shooting. If I'm not shooting, one of my team members are shooting. So, and after COVID, churches really don't close down so let's do 50 some weeks a year, and then special services. It could be a Thanksgiving service or Christmas or
Which could be
whatever house of
longer.
worship you go to. Yeah.
They could be longer, correct? Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so let's just say a minimum of 40 some shoots a year, 45 for that one client. Prior to using that workflow with Imagine, I was doing all the editing myself for events. And as you know, there's no way that my time was just embargoed, because the church, the house of worship where I work, they want some proofs immediately, at least, to share for social, like every client does, right? And just like corporate, they want, like, people think that just because you're corporate, they don't want sneak peeks. They do. They do. Nonprofit, they have social. It may not be as intense as a wedding, a bride or a groom or a planner, but they want sneak peeks as well. But you just have to manage it. So for me, it's just really using the workflow with taking it, getting the photos to a cold state, and then using AI to edit everything. I mean, if you go, when I started using AI editing, I said, you know what? I'm not going back, because, I just have to, because it's just too much for one person to do. And we did it well the old way. I'm an old guy, so I feel like I've been in the business. There's a lot of people that's been in business more than 10, 15 years. They don't want to go to anything new. But for me, if it saves me some time, it's really well. It works really well, especially for the volume amount of shoots that we do.
Yeah, and being if you're the person that has to be the one that's doing the editing, you don't have a person on your team to do the editing. If you're the person that's got to do it, and you've got to be shooting, and you got to manage the team who's also shooting for you, that's a lot. That's a lot to take on. So by utilizing tools that could free up some of that time and get you more focused on other aspects, that's a beautiful thing. So it's good. You also mentioned that galleries and meetings have improved. Those type of parts of your business have improved from a CRM. Can you tell me more about, like, what CRM are you using? Why did you pick that one? And are those meetings, because you are doing corporate type stuff these days, are those meetings in person or virtual?
Yeah, great question. I think that, well, a little bit of both. First, I'm going to go with the virtual meeting. So we all know we all have to do virtual meetings, because those are just the way of the world. I mean, ever since post-COVID society, you do a virtual meeting, that's fine. I'm trying to get back into some real person meetings, because I know that I have one coming up next week or so. I love virtual meetings, but nothing beats looking someone in the eye, having a meal with them. If you drink, having a drink with them, just because I think that is where business gets done. If it doesn't get done on a golf course, it doesn't get done at a restaurant. One of my favorite quotes that a friend of mine always says, it says that it's not the secret to scaling your photography business isn't just the shots you take, but it's the relationships you build. Okay. And that's what I've lived my mantra by. Okay. Mm-hmm. Doing good work, but it's also those relationships. And when it comes to relationships, you got to have a CRM, right? So I use 17 Hats right now. Not an ambassador, don't have any affiliate codes for them. I re-up for a lifetime membership. I've been using them for 8 years.
Oh, their new Black Friday sale that just happened?
Yeah.
Okay, I saw that.
I got it. Because I figure, if I've been using it for 8 years, I looked at my numbers and I said, I put a lot of stuff into it. And it's hard for us. It's funny about photographers. A lot of us want people to commit to us, but we don't want to commit to any services. Is that funny?
Yeah.
So it is. We want our clients to commit to us, but what are we committing to? So, and we got to put skin in the game. And sometimes it's about promoting stuff that you're not an ambassador for, that you don't get a dime for, because it works for you. And it's okay with that. It's okay with that. So, and one of the reasons why I use just a CRM, keeps me honest. Okay. I love sending quotes and contracts, invoices. That's all that's being said, because years ago when I first started the business, I didn't know anything about CRM. And a friend of mine told me, hey, use this. And I was using HelloSign at the time, or Microsoft Word documents through Dropbox or whatever. And then I get to see where they are in my pipeline. in my sales funnel or where they are. So I think whatever CRM you go with, there's so many out there that built in, too many to name on this podcast, but something that works for you and works with your workflow. And that's the thing. Without it, Scott, there's no way that I can do it. There's many photographers. There's a photographer just hit me up not too long ago. She getting back into photography. She has an LLC, but she said, Chip, I want to talk to you about the business side. It's not, the sexy taking pictures, the F1.4, but it's things that's going to keep us in business for the long. And I've been in business for a while, and and I pride myself on customer service, like everybody does. But really, you see it, and when I say that, you see this. I was a customer because in the year 2024, I got remarried, and I saw what it was being on the other side, needing quotes from photographers, needing quotes from vendors, and seeing that, wait a second, some people online they have it together, but then when you get to their workflow, they really don't. And people will judge you not only by your photography work, but by your workflow and how they move through your process. And there are some people that I hired, one in particularly, my DJ, my photo booth guy and all that stuff. His workflow was just so good. They got back to me. And then there's some people in my vendor list I had to chase down. You understand what I'm saying? So I get it. Like, I finally get it, being on the other side. So being a vendor and being a customer.
Yeah. There's a lot of photographers that photography is one of those industries where people come, people go, right? You're one of the lucky guys who have figured it out, and you're in it, and you've been in it for the long haul, and you're still in it for the long haul, right? But there's some photographers who come thinking, "Oh, I got this. My photography is awesome," but then they go out of business real fast, and a lot of times it's because they don't have the business side down. They just think because my photos are good, I'm gonna do well, but that's not always the case. So I think it's really important. I've always said that if I could go back, my degree in college would be business. It would not be photography. Yeah. Because to me, it's almost more important than everything else. The other thing I want to mention is you said you like the feel of 17 Hats. There's a lot of platforms out there. You've tried a lot of other things. I think it's very important for people, if you're a photographer, you don't have a CRM in place, to do the trials for them all, right? And you might like one, the look and feel of it for yourself more than you might like the look and feel of another for yourself. It doesn't matter if it's Scott or Chip telling you do this one. If you try it and you don't like it, don't buy it. Try the one that you like and pay for the one you like. Stick with it. Yeah, it's just like picking up a camera. Even if you don't stick with it, you can always move unless you have a plan. That's the thing. Yeah. The trials are good because you see, but give it an honest shot. What I see some folks doing is like not really using it halfway or trying some things and they say they don't understand it, so they're going to get rid of it. Or it's a popularity contest because, like you said, Scott or Chip said it, or this popular photographer uses it. A lot of us get, at least in the photography world, it's kind of like, it's like lambs led to a slaughter, right? Somebody tells us to use something, we all go down that route. You know what I mean? Right. But try it, nothing wrong with it, and go for it. It works for me now. I was using Honeybook for years, and it worked well in the wedding industry. I loved it. I love the look of Honeybook. I love the feel of it. I like the people. And, just like a website platform, there's not a right website platform. It's what works for you. Exactly. I got a question I just thought of is for corporate jobs you're getting, all these clients that you've been photographing, working with, how often do you get people saying, hey, do you also do weddings? And even though you've shifted away from weddings, are you still taking weddings if they come from corporate jobs?
Yeah, there are a few, great question. There are a few people, one of my clients / mentors, her daughter was getting married and she came to me privately. Hey, Chip, I know she shoot as many weddings, but we have a January wedding, the first Saturday in January. Can you do this wedding? Da-da-da. So I would say yes. It's small. If someone comes to me, I took my wedding website offline, but like I said, I did an engagement shoot the other day. So I will refer most of the time out, especially to a mentee or somebody who really wants it. But if it's something more intense, I don't want to say yes to everything, because that means I have to say no to something, because I can't say yes to everything. So the small, intimate, off-season weddings, like I'll do a January, February, March, maybe one, but nothing in the summer, nothing really in the fall that comes up. But 9 times out of 10, the corporate folks kind of just keep it that way. You know, they keep it in the same vein. So I don't have too much overlap, but a few, but not many.
Awesome. I want to move on to what you mentioned that you're struggling with and you've been actively working on. You mentioned that you struggle with batch emails, okay? And I wonder, first of all, when you say batch emails, are you referring to things like mass emails of just like every client you've had in the past, emailing all of them in bulk? Or are you talking about sort of lead nurturing? So you get a new corporate lead. Is it the batch, the nurturing emails that are in the automations that would be set up in like a 17 hats? Is that what you're referring to? Or is it something completely different, like a personalized emails that you do a lot?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. And I have a VA on a part-time basis that she can write some things, but there's some things I think that you just can't outsource because your voice matters. And to me, I just, my writing style, the way I communicate, I can't use AI to write that for me. I can get AI to help edit it, but I just can't put it in a chat GPT. The subject lines. So it's more for batch emails and for special emails that I need to send. So, and it doesn't need to be, I'm not writing, 10 paragraphs here. It's just really getting the time and doing it and having a plan. So not only, the stuff that I have that on autopilot, I set that up already in the CRM. That's pretty much set. But I'm talking about the specials that you had. And then with a corporate client, it was easier in the wedding world because I could just show the pretty. Here are the pictures. Here's the stuff. But you see one corporate event, see one headshot, you kind of see them all, right? So what value do you want to add? So I don't want to, people are inundated with emails, right? Especially during holiday season, anytime. So I didn't want to be that person to just send emails just for the sake of checking off a list, okay? To say that I send one. It needs to have some value. What value can I get? Whether it's to photographers, and I have a great segmented list. So, but it's what value can I get from? There's some people right now, Scott, that you get on an email box that when you receive the email, it's going to be valuable, and you read it. And there's some people that you see the email, they're like, ignore. I want to be the latter, okay?
Right.
So am I struggling with it? Yes. But when I send the emails out, I get such a good open rate, like 35, almost 40%. Very low unsubscribes because I know my list is segmented, but it's value. But do I need to send more to nurture? Of course, because people forget. I mean, and social media is, and we don't want to depend just on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok. You can't anymore, right? You can't depend on them. You have to have a freebie or something of value for people to get, to download, and then nurture them.
I do have a suggestion on how you could use ChatGPT with your VA to utilize your voice a little bit more, your tone of voice, right? So I know how you, just from getting to know you over the past couple of years, I know how you speak. I get your emails. I know how your emails come across. My suggestion would be take a bunch of your emails, your conversations, your threads with your clients, right? The back and forth that you've had through emails. Make them as a whole bunch of PDFs, okay? And then in ChatGPT, create a custom GPT, all based on your tone of voice. Have it analyze your tone of voice from those email threads. And then the custom GPT, and I know you know about custom GPTs. You've spoken about this.
I did. Yeah, I did.
And so you create this that's all based on your tone of voice, and that way your VA can now use your custom GPT to come up with replies just as you would in your voice. And that way it's sort of like a little head start for them to get to take more off your plate. But if they still get stuck, they can ask you, of course, right?
They can, but yeah. That's a great. Hey, listen, I'm all open. That's one thing as a photographer, we don't know anything. He or she that knows all the answers may have misunderstood some of the questions, right? That's what I say in life. So I'm open to everything, and I'm going to send these notes to my VA and ask her to get this done, because I know in the coming months and weeks ahead, that's going to be very important, because you can't write everything. I mean, you just really can't. You have to depend on at a high level. At a high level, I realize if you want to grow your business as a photographer, there's only so many hours in the day.
Yeah.
You got to have a workflow. Nice. You have to have someone else. I don't know anybody that does weddings at a high level or photography that doesn't have a team or some person that works with them. I mean, you could do it well, but you got to have somebody.
Yeah. I'm going to go to the archives for a minute. This is season 4 we're in of the show. And in season 4, we're switching things up a bit and asking these questions about your, very effective workflow areas and your one struggling workflow area. And I want to go back to the archives for a minute from previous seasons and ask you one question, because it's not too often I get to have a corporate commercial side photographer on. Yes, you've got the experience from the weddings as well, but I would love your answer from the corporate side of things. What is one thing, excuse me, what is one thing you do during the photographic process behind the camera that saves you time?
It saves me time when I'm behind the okay.
Yeah, could be lighting, could be the camera. Ooh.
well, one of a few things. I'm a Sony shooter, so don't hold that against me, Scott. I know you're Nikon.
Sure am.
Yeah, Nikon, so don't hold me.
We can still be friends. It's okay.
Okay, good. All right. But what I want to say, one thing that I do have some custom shortcuts on my camera. So let's just say I know I shoot in a house of worship, a church, every Sunday, right? Sometimes on Saturday, sometimes on the other day. But the lighting is usually the same from the stage, and the lighting is usually the same on I'm shooting people out in the congregation. So I have a custom preset for the stage, custom preset 1, and I can switch go there, and then I can just go around. If I turn around when the lighting is totally different, custom preset 2. I dial those in because I shoot there every week. It's one thing to shoot there once a month, but when you shoot the same place 3 to 4 times a month, it can get a little tiring changing the ISO, changing the f-stop. So I have at least a great starting point. That saves me, first of all. Second of all, and these are all in-camera stuff I'm doing. I'm not even talking about going to the editing part. Another thing I do, and I don't know, Nikon probably has this as well, is that when you're taking photos, I have a custom shortcut where I create a new folder for every session. So on camera. So when I plug my SD card in, I showed a couple guys, I know that the date, whatever, let's just say it's January 25th, 2025, or whatever date it is. I know January 25th will come up on my folder list and all the pictures. Now, I have to remember to do this. Sometimes I forget. But it's like muscle memory. Every time I do a new session, the first thing I do is create a new folder. You know how you have something that's muscle memory? Because instead of going through all the photos and trying to get all the JPEGs for the date, it's in that folder. I just take the card and I just swipe them all over. I don't have to worry about anything else. So those two things right there, just while I'm shooting, you know what I mean? Because a lot of times with corporate, I can't set up lights in a sanctuary, in a temple. You know what I mean? I can't set those up. And a corporate thing, I can't have off-camera flash like I want to, like it's a reception. So I have to make sure I have my ISO right. And Scott, I realized that there's some venues, even in my corporate days, where I shoot multiple times. And that has helped me because, and this is more of a marketing tip, quick story. I had on my website, I shot this particular venue Well, I had a thumbnail because we also do some video work as well. So mainly photography, we do some video work, have some video guys work with us. But on the thumbnail, it had the name of the building, okay? And just by accident, one of my clients emailed me and said, "Oh, you shot at this particular venue. I know you'll be good at shooting at it because you've done it before." I said, I think to myself, I have? I don't even have that on my website, but I looked, the thumbnail had the logo of the place, the building on there. So being intentional about what you show too on your website, that is to say your experience. Because just like with a wedding photographer, if you shot at, said venue, wherever you are, people want to know, oh, you have experience shooting here. Not that it makes you better or worse, but it's just, it's there. But especially when it comes to those camera settings, in camera, making sure when I'm shooting at the same place, have those presets. And instead of me fumbling around, I can get a shot, turn around, get the other shot by just one click of a button. And I don't miss moments.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, I do the same thing with my Nikon bodies for my surprise proposals that I do. Mm-hmm. I have on all of my cameras, I have the same custom setting set so that during the proposal itself, I know focus is spot center. My ISO is, I believe I have my ISO, auto ISO for that, so that I can focus on the aperture and the shutter speed. And I have it on the Nikon has like two continuous high modes. One's like do 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 do, and one's like do 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 do, like rapid fire. And so like when I'm in the custom mode, number one for the actual proposal, I have it doing what I need for the high speed part of it. And then when I'm done, ready to do the engagement part, the engagement photos where it's more controlled, more relaxed and slow down, I can then go to my regular camera settings without having to fuss around. It's just a quick turn of the dial. So I totally get you on that. It's such a time-saving thing to have that type of feature in your camera.
But when did you learn to do that? Because a lot of people never do that, Scott. I mean, I was like, I got to do something better. I was changing my ISO, changing my aperture, and it's the same setting week after week. And I'm like, what am I doing?
It took me, I didn't do it until, so during the pandemic is when my photography kind of shifted organically to doing proposals. And it was during that time when I was like, man, there's got to be a better way to quickly switch. And then that's when I was like, oh, wait a minute. My cameras have these custom settings.
Custom buttons.
So,
custom settings. I mean, custom settings, knowing your venues, and then just the way your camera, whatever camera brand you use, it has ways that your workflow, it can, and believe it or not, I feel that a lot of times as photographers, we spend a lot of time either looking for stuff. Think about how many times, oh, where's this file? Oh, where's this picture? I know I took this picture. Looking for stuff, and organization. That's the thing, and organization. Yep. So,
100%. Chip, this has been a fantastic conversation. I'm so glad you're able to join me and share what's going on behind the scenes with you. Always so nice to see your face as well. Can you share with everybody listening or watching the best place to learn more about you, connect with you, and see your awesome photography?
Thank you, Scott. Yeah, it's at chipdizard.com. And that's where I have a lot of my resources. You see the three things that we have on the site: main headshots and social and really corporate events, and then social videography. We do other things as well, but I'm not advertising that as much. One thing I know, and just to tell you this, I know in today's market, we're just not selling photos, we're selling how those photos make people feel, no matter what. You know what I mean? You never know. Even in the corporate market, it could be somebody. There was a CEO that I photographed recently. He had a bout with cancer. He unfortunately passed away. And they used some of the photos I took of him speaking. They showed me at his memorial service. So it's not just a wedding, but how you make people feel when you get that. Yeah. A lot of our time is spent at work. Let's just be honest. A lot of our time is not. And if I'm capturing, a lot of our time is spent at conferences. I shoot a lot of conferences. But the most important thing is to capture the memories of where we were, what we have, and how we've done it. At the end of the day, that's all I want to do. Is just capture the moment right? And just make people feel. And I feel that's our true edge as photographers, because we're capturing those moments, whether it's corporate, whether it's a bar mitzvah, whether it's a quinceañera, we're capturing those moments that years from now that we're like, wow, I can't believe I did this. And I feel lucky every day, Scott, when I turn on my computer, I come to work, because even on my bad days, I'm like, I'm doing what I love to do and I'm getting paid for it. And I can't.
That's right.
I can't. You win some, you lose some. But in this economy, there are a lot of people that hate their job, hate their supervisor. I can't ever say that I want to quit photography or do something else, or not even just the business of it, because it's ingrained in me now. So I'm very fortunate.
Amazing.
For that.
Thank you for sharing that. That was that was really impactful message that you just shared with the world. I hope that everybody listening really tunes into that. Hit rewind if you need to listen to it again, because if that doesn't make your day and month and year incredible, I don't know what will. So thank you, Chip. You're very inspirational with that. I appreciate it. You have been listening to the Workflows Photography Podcast. To hear more from Workflows, to learn more about our guest, and for an exclusive offer for Workflows listeners, please go to workflowspodcast.com. And be sure to subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time.